Hey y'all, it's your favorite piano teacher, Miss Cece, and welcome back to my classroom, Miss Cece's Classroom, and welcome to our first official hashtag Music Monday. I was thinking, I was like, what am I going to play for Music Monday? You know, I wanted to do something a little bit more interesting, so yesterday, you know, I was just going through all my little piano books and stuff, and I went through a couple of my hymnals, and I came across Amazing Grace. And, you know, I just had my gears turned. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll spice up Amazing Grace, you know, something cute, you know, short and sweet, nice and neat, you know, just for our first Music Monday. So I just did a little research on Amazing Grace, and I came across a lot of stuff that I think you guys are going to be interested in. So without further ado, let's get into our Music Monday with a little music history tidbit on our piece for today, Amazing Grace. Now, whether you attend church regularly or not, the Amazing Grace hymn is a very popular hymn in churches across the world. However, it is especially popular in the African American community, being that Black people have always had a very deep relationship with the church. I, for one, grew up singing it countless times. Every church that I've ever attended or played for, I have played this hymn or sung it. And not only me, but I'm more than positive I can speak for a good number of Black people when I say that this hymn is not new to us. It's no new, it's not any more new than Pass Me Not or Let Us Break Bread Together. You know, it's one of those hymns that are really just a staple that every musician in a church should know by heart. Now, you can only imagine my surprise when I found out that the lyricist behind the hymn was not only a white man, a Mr. John Newton of London, but he was also a former slave trader. So there's that. Mr. John Newton was born August 4th, 1725 in London to a Puritan mother, and from what I've learned, a very, very strict father who was a sea captain. Around the time that John turned 11, his father started to take him on his sea voyages. After many voyages, John became very interested in the British Navy and decided to join. However, his infatuation with the British Navy would not last long because John started getting in trouble, started drinking a little too heavily, and then he lost his rank and was reduced to a common seaman. The seaman Newton took part in many voyages that collected, shipped, and traded African slaves in London. However, on one of his voyages on a slave ship called the Pegasus, he had a night that would change his life forever. On the voyage home from Africa, the Pegasus got caught in a really bad storm off the coast of Ireland. A hole in the ship's hull, and that night Newton prayed to God, and miraculously the cargo filled the hole in the ship so they were able to get home safely. He decided to turn his life over to Christ as he saw that incident as being a miraculous act from God. Now, I don't know if y'all were expecting me to tell you like, oh, and then he realized that slavery was bad from that point on. He did, but it was not as quick as you thought it would be. He didn't turn his life over immediately. He actually did like 3 more voyages and was the captain of 2 of them. He continued trading slaves for a while, until he had a stroke like in 1754, and then he retired, but he was still investing in the business of slave trading. In 1764, he became an ordained Anglican priest. Wrote the lyrics for Amazing Grace in 1772. Wasn't really until 1788, and that was like 35 years after the incident, that he decided to renounce the practices of slavery. He publicly renounced the practices of slavery by publishing a pamphlet called Thoughts Upon the Slave Trade. In the pamphlet, he talks and describes in great detail about the horrific conditions that the African people were kept in on the slave ships, as well as giving a public statement / apology on his support of the slave trade. In the pamphlet, he is quoted saying, "It will always be a subject of humiliating reflection to me that I was once an active instrument in a business at which my heart now shudders." Okay, Mr. John Newton died December 21st, 1807. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little music history tidbit on Amazing Grace. So, you know, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this clip of me playing Amazing Grace for our Music Monday. Until next time we see each other, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, go practice.